I had 2 guesses immediately, and then after having Twitter explain to me some things, I've got 3 guesses.
Well,
I'm just saying.
It was particularly funny. The only player that apparently follows her is Montrezl Harrell,
who had a groupie issue last year.
He did, and then he tweeted out and woke up and said, "Yeah, I woke up and Trez is in trouble," and he said, "I was like laughing." So he's sort of like acknowledging that he's aware of the Twitterverse detective work and the allegations that he might be the one that invited. The bigger question is, I have no doubt that women are already being invited in the bubble.
Correct.
Multiple times by multiple people. The issue is they shouldn't be able to get in. Like there shouldn't be a mechanism by which they could even if you invite them, it should be a pointless invitation like, man, I'd love for you to come in the bubble, but we can't because our security is so stringent that you can't get in here. If they can get in,
that back door will be open.
The back door, well, the Adam Silver back door?
Absolutely.
I mean, and just as a reminder, just FYI, as of yesterday, Florida, the state in which the NBA, MLS, WNBA bubbles happen to be going on, Florida had 8% of the entire world's coronavirus cases. Just Florida. 8% of the entire world's cases were Florida. So, again, if you want another reason why you shouldn't allow you shouldn't allow some random Floridian to get into the in the bubble, this might be a good explanation as to why.
Hey, they're down there.
They are down there.
This is not.
They are down there.
I'm afraid this is not going to end the way we think it is going to end, the way we would all like for it to end. You've got ping pong tables, you got arcade setups, and some of these dudes don't want to play ping pong, don't want to play arcade games. Some of these dudes, entertainment,
That's not the way they spend their time.
They spend them because they're grown ass men. They spend them doing grown ass things, man, and that's cool. I got you, but they're not going to be down to just sit there for a month, 2 months, month and a half, 3 months. Like they're not going to be down to just sit there and kick it, cool it. They're going to try and get some of the grown up things they like to do done. And if that means inviting random groupies on Twitter in, then so be it. If that means grabbing an Instagram model, knock yourself out. I hope your security's tight enough. It doesn't seem like it is. I bet you money it's not. If there's one back door, there's enough back doors to get some people through. All you got to do is holler at the right person. Okay. Then we sneak contraband in prison. Like, we can do that. And this is not a prison. This is not a jail situation. They're going to sneak some stuff in. They're going to sneak some people in. And it's going to jeopardize the whole thing. Sorry. I hope that's not news to anybody.
Well, their players certainly don't trust their teammates and other players.
Because they know them.
Because they know.
They know them.
They know how this thing's going to go. You just have to hope. You just have to hope that the protocol is gonna find a way to get this.
And Mo Bamba just putting Donovan Mitchell on blast, just like, Donovan wildin'. Like, wait, why Donovan got to be brought up in this?
Yes. Everyone's going to catch. I mean, everyone's all sitting there together. There's going to be people catching some drive-bys. There's no doubt about that. When we come back, we'll talk about there was some actual news, some actual situation that happened in the bubble, not just goofiness. Although we will talk about the goofiness as well. Yes. Believe me, there's plenty of that. We'll talk about that. We'll talk about some of the issues in the MLS bubble as well. We'll talk about a big day potentially for the SEC. So lots to get to. We got Sports Radio Theater coming up. We have Tyler Springs, who's going to join us at 9:30. It's his playlist, our pal Tyler Springs on the aux today. So we'll hear from him coming up later on in the show. Lots to get to. A busy Monday here from the Family Leisure Studios. I'm Peter. He's CJ, Real Sports Talk, Sports 56, 96.1, 87.7.
It's R&R on.
Announce that the name that they have used for their the majority of their existence is no longer going to be used. They will be retiring that name and will be changing it. They will not. They're not expected to announce the new name today, but they are expected to announce that they will not be that name any longer. And it is well, again, as a fan, it's been one of those very difficult things to kind of deal with, because I don't like to be a hypocrite. And so I'm certainly not in support of names that are a slur, an ethnic slur, and anything that would defame the group. And it's hard to square that with the fact that this is the team name. Like, this is the name of when you started watching the team as a kid, didn't think anything about what the name was or what it meant or any of that stuff. You just like the team, and if you're me, you just like to watch them play, and Joe Theismann, and then Doug Williams, and the Super Bowls, and Art Monk and Gary Clark and Ricky Sanders and Darryl Green and Timmy Smith, back all these guys. Like, I didn't think about the name. I wouldn't think about what that name meant or what it, whether it was a slur and that stuff. And as you get older, and as you start to reckon with those things, well, now you've already set, you're a fan. You've already set that in. So you can go one of two directions. You can dig in and say, well, no, you can't change it because it's the history and it's the the heritage of the team and blah 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 or whatever. And I grew up with it, and you can't change. Or you can say, look, I know it's wrong. It doesn't need to be there. But that also is very strange to admit that you've been following a team like that. So it's been a weird, kind of wrestling around in your brain for years and years and years. Just kind of like, you follow a team, and in the team you have to like check yourself saying the name, and like, are you saying the name? Yeah, you kind of say the name because that's what you do. But then, if you're saying the name, you're sort of perpetuating a slur. That's not great. And it's just really tricky, man. And so I'm just thrilled that that's going to be done. Like, I don't have to worry about that. That's just put that to the side. Sounds like, Red Wolves might be the direction they're going to go.
Okay.
Which I associate with, Arkansas State, but we could change that. I'm okay. I'm okay with that. That's fine. I think they would like to keep an R name. I think they'd like to keep because the HTTR, Hail to the Red Wolves would be fine in the famous song. You could just change that name, no problem. I have to kind of change some of the lyrics too, but you could figure that out. So Red Wolves would be okay. I'm not going to support the Red Tails idea because you don't like it, so I'm not going to. I'm kind of like, that's okay. I respect your opinion on that issue and your reasoning for not going along with that. So I'll agree with you there. The Red Foxes. I think that's another to honor
Red Fox.
I think that would be great. If you if you want to have a funny sort of logo, and we could all play some of his clips during the game, that'd be great. So that I'm
Can
okay
we
with
play
that.
any of his clips?
Sure. Why not?
Okay. Oh,
It's the big one. Whenever whenever you throw like a long
you.
touchdown pass, it's the big one. You could.
You're talking about from the show. I'm thinking of the comedy.
No. We could not.
Yeah,
No.
okay.
No. I'm strictly going like Sanford and Son stuff, like stuff that you do on network TV. Not.
Okay.
No, you cannot do any of the comedy album. No.
At all.
No.
At all.
Very
My
little.
gosh.
Very, very little. You have it highly edited. It would make no sense.
The what?
And then I said. Yeah,
nope.
Can't
Can't
but it's
do
funny.
It is funny.
It is funny. Gotta say that. So anyway, I really never thought we'd get to this day, CJ. I mean, I know it's been kind of, in the wind for the last. It's been the wind, for decades, but it never. Daniel Snyder at one point, was quoted as he's a terrible person. Let's just get that out of the way. Terrible human being, Daniel Snyder, who also happens to own Washington's team. At one point said, was quoted as saying, "You can print this in all caps. I will never change the name of the team." We talked about his Original Americans Foundation, which gave precisely $0 to Native causes last year. That would be this money, zero. The amount, the same amount that he gave to Swedish causes, the same amount that he gave to any other cause, he gave to that. Zero. Zip. So terrible person. And so it is especially notable that he's having to backtrack on this because he's been extremely stubborn on this because it seems like a personal thing for him. And he just sort of, like I said, he's just a very odious individual. So to see this is particularly nice and it makes me very happy. And just like a lot of people trying to sell, hopefully he'll be forced to sell. That would be great too. But this is maybe the second best thing. So I'm excited, CJ.
2016, Kaepernick and others are taking that knee. And if you had to pull me to the side and said, hey, in 2020, you won't be able to fly the Confederate flag in NASCAR. People will be spray painting Black Lives Matter proudly on their respective streets. And Washington will change their name. Be like, get out of here. You tripping. You wilding. What do you mean? Mm-hmm. The NASCAR thing alone. Oh, and Mississippi will change their state flag. They will be pulling down their state flag and taking the Confederate symbol out of there. It's like, you tripping. You wilding. There's no way this stuff is happening, and it's happening right now. And I think it's great, and I appreciate it. I appreciate all the work and the effort that citizens, everyday Americans, have gone out there and put forth to try and get to this moment and make these changes possible. I never would have thought Washington would have changed their name. Never would have thought Mississippi would change their flag. Never would have thought that NASCAR would ban Confederate flag from their respective events. But here we are. Now we've got to go to the next step. This is great and all, but it's still, these are symbols. These are symbolic. These aren't actual legislation, right? These aren't the actual no-knock warrants. These aren't actual things that need to be changed that can affect our lives dramatically. These are symbols. And while it's great to take down statues, and it's great to remove Confederate flags, and it's great to remove all racist imagery from your respective teams, we've got to go to the next step. This is but one step. We've got to go to the next step, and that is passing meaningful legislation and doing things that we can do to combat systemic racism in America. So it's cool bringing it local. It is outstanding. I think it's phenomenal that Memphis is going to throw Black Lives Matter on the back of those helmets. That is great. But what are you doing as a university to support black people? Because black lives can't just matter in theory. They've got to matter in actuality. What are you doing? How are you teaching students? How many black teachers do you have? How are you teaching history? Do you have enough black authors in your English courses providing a different perspective and a different point of view? Like those types of things. What is your curriculum set up? How does your curriculum help disadvantaged black people succeed in college? Once you've identified what the issues are with the disadvantaged black people and the grade school level, what are you going to do with this school district, with the Memphis Shelby County School District and surrounding areas to help them create lessons plans, help them create an academic structure so that nobody is struggling, so that people aren't being left behind, to use that phrase? What are you going to do there? So it's great to get these symbols right. Now let's work to actually affect some sort of meaningful change in our everyday lives.
Well, and that's it is about all of that. It's about everyday life. It's about affecting that change. It's about doing the things that need to be done. And this is, but it's these gestures speak to a bigger societal change. I really didn't think it would come this quickly, but it really does seem as though at least in some of these outward displays, like the Washington name, that have been, stains on the national discourse for decades. And a lot of people have been saying, I know I've talked to, I've probably, I think I started talking about it, on the show 10 years ago. I mean, it's been a long time since and when I started talking about it, it seemed like it was just a pipe dream. Like, this is something that needs to be done. And I know, and it's never going to happen. So, whatever, but it needs to be done. Let's just put that on the record. And now it's happening. It's just it's a wonderful example of how society has changed. And it's so tragic that it has taken preponderance of deaths, black men and women being brutalized and killed by police officers around the country. And, it's such a tragic thing that it has taken that to make it happen. But that's what it's taken, and now we are in a moment that is unique. Over the last, several decades at least, since I would say the late 60s and early 70s, when society is up and is ready to see significant major changes on a huge level. And these are examples of stuff like that just were sitting out there nakedly racist, and it's being torn down. That name's being torn down in the way that many abhorrent statues are being torn down. And this one was torn down kind of interestingly enough by people from within, like Fred Smith and FedEx, who said we're not putting our name on your stuff anymore. Like, it's just not going to do it. And Fred, on top of that, is saying, I want to sell my portion of the team. I'm sick of being part of this. I'm not doing this anymore. It's been torn down from within, so credit to them for putting their money where their mouth is and supporting that. That was a huge, massive push in that right direction. That's really what was the thing that final domino, that started the whole thing going. So anyway, whatever it happens, I'm so thrilled that it's happening, and everyone will get out. It'll be weird at first to get used to the new name, but you'll get used to it, and it's going to be much better. Everyone will be better for having gotten used to it. Just like Atlanta, the Braves are saying, "Hey, we're gonna take a look at that chop thing that we're doing." Yeah, you should, and you should say that. And it's going to be weird not to do the chop, but you know what? It's going to be better for everybody not to belittle a group of people to show support for your team. There's a different way you can do it, and it might be weird at first, but in the long run, much better for everybody to do it that way.
Yeah.
When we come back, we'll talk more about the other bit of news that comes from the NBA. It has nothing to do with the bubble specifically, but it does involve somebody who didn't necessarily like the bubble. Now, he may have a little more time to sit in the bubble and think about it. We'll see who that is and what's going on when we return. Live from the Family Leisure Studios, Peter and CJ with you on a Monday. Real Sports Talk, Sports 56, 96.1, 87.7.
Want to get your voice heard?
Josh Hawley, 2 words, 7 letters. First letter's F.
Okay.
And
it's a phrase.
You can kind of figure it out from there, probably. A very unkind thing to say. He responded to an email blast that was sent to his inbox that was ripping the NBA and the lack of their interactions and dealing with the issues in China, and saying also that in the social justice situation going on, that they should have the ability to put other things to support the troops and police officers and stuff on the backs of the jerseys, in addition to the phrases that they have right now. And Woj did not take kindly to that being sent to his email box, and responded rather forcefully. Then the senator decided to put him on blast publicly, and immediately ESPN was scrambling to try to do some damage control. Woj was forced to apologize. Reportedly, he is being suspended for 2 weeks. Andrew Marchand, I think, is the one who had the length of the suspension. So 2 weeks suspension for Woj. This is the equivalent sort of suspending the player in the early part of the non-conference schedule. Like Calipari. I remember John Calipari suspending a player like on either side of a conference game because there were two he has a 2 non-conference game suspension for something. This is sort of the equivalent of that. The bubble is here, but the games haven't started yet. So knock that thing out. But no one wants that. A lot of the folks in the NBA did not like that. Players, LeBron James among, but so many players, hundreds of them. Hashtag free Woj became a trending situation. Woj is not being freed at this point, though. What say you, CJ, about this? Should he have been suspended? And what do you think about what this whole thing? Kind of a wild situation.
Free him. Free Woj, baby. That's it for me. Next topic. I don't know. It's funny though. Ooh, this funny, man. I had all of the jokes on Sunday. But I get it. You're ESPN. ESPN has been criticized for leaning one way or the other. They can't appease everybody, and so they end up appeasing no one. And when stuff like this pops off, one side gets really up in arms. See, they don't respect us. They don't respect our dollars. We shouldn't watch Sports Center anymore. We shouldn't watch. We got to boycott, blah, 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 all this other stuff that they like to say on that side. So, nothing's going on right now. You suspend them, you have to know that the legend and the lore of Woj is going to grow. Like, you knew that would happen. So, I guess a punishment, but, it's is a punishment much like the kid who doesn't want to be in school anymore. That suspension is a punishment. Like, yeah, sure, you're punishing me, you're taking something away, but hell, I really don't need to be here anyway. I really don't like this environment anyway. So, like, that's Woj. 2 weeks, everything will be starting back in about 2 weeks. He'll be there. He'll be good to go. I hate that because Woj would have told us who invited that chick. Like, that's where we suffer because Woj is not around. Woj would have absolutely found out who had invited that chick to the bubble, and Woj would have told us by now.
Shouldn't Shams be doing the hashtag free Woj? You gotta have it. Yeah, I know. They're
competitors,
bitter rivals now.
But
Woj helped Shams get in the business.
Yeah,
Woj was the one that started him. I think he needs to support his boy.
Yeah, free him, free the home.
Hey Peter, can I borrow a letter? Can I buy a letter?
You want to buy one?
Yeah.
A U?
Yes, that's definitely what I want.
There's 2 U's in this phrase. So
I mean,
there's a C. There's a Y. There's
just
a K.
the simplicity.
Mix those around and
just
see if you can
quick.
figure it out.
Just quick too.
Yeah,
like I missed it. I missed it. If that yellow box wasn't around it, I wouldn't have read that at all. It's like, okay, it's a miss.
He's on the phone.
That's what he said. Send from
Woj gets Woj gets a lot of texts, a lot of emails, and all that stuff. So he's just
he felt the need to reply.
He's
to
like,
that
"Come
one,
on,
though.
man, what are you doing?" Bing, and then just like send it off and then like that. He's frustrated and all that stuff.
I wonder if he knew it was going to get back to the senator. I wonder if he thought it was just like a bot or something like that, and it would kick back.
I don't know.
I want the thought process behind that.
I think with Woj because he operating on 2 phones, that when he got the email, you know how you check your email and you probably want to do a quick response or whatever, and he didn't see that the senator was CC'd in the mail in the thread, and so you just like, man.
Listen, I've gotten some. I've accidentally sent an email before that was problematic. I included the person that I was referring to on the email by accident.
I almost got fired for an email.
Yeah.
Like who must have hadn't sent emails accidentally. This doesn't seem like it was an accident though.
No. This was not. This was not an accident. No, this was very much a real thing. But in all honesty, like it's all like kind of we all get the jokes off and all that stuff. But is he not within his right to send a message of disagreement to someone?
I think he is. It can't be that though.
I mean, it probably shouldn't be that.
If he had sent something else, like a longer diatribe about why he's not going to rock with this,
right?
No, nothing's going. And by longer, I mean, hell, the email he sent was only 2 words. So if he sent 3 words explaining why he's not going to rock with that particular email. I think if he had said
respectfully before it. Respectfully.
No disrespect.
No, with all due respect, then I think you would have had to say, well, he said it respectfully, so I can't argue with it. It's just that's where it is. So sorry, everybody. It's just that's.
Oh, good old Woj, man.
I mean, you're not. I don't know. Again, you can't do that. You can't send me the F-bomb.
No.
You can send your thoughts.
You can.
I don't think that's that crazy. And I don't know. Everyone piling on like you're just making Woj. Isn't this? Didn't we have a whole thing about cancel culture? Like in this sort of cancel culture, like it's.
No, this is absolutely cancel culture.
This is what cancel culture is, right?
From the side that
always talks about like cancel culture, right?
About cancel culture, but this is absolutely cancel culture.
This is absolutely cancel culture.
I think it kind of backfired on him. The thought process on that side might have been, hey, there's no way ESPN is going to suspend this dude. We got him now. ESPN's like, no, we'll suspend him. What?
No, ESPN is no problem. This is how it works. The ESPN has always shown that they just like they did with the Jamel Hill. And
but
they
people
they
don't
no
want
problem.
to acknowledge that.
That's what they do. They're happy to just jettison them. No problem. I mean, like, just out. Sorry, Michael Smith and Jamel Hill at the Sports Center, and then it was like, this is a little too real for some folks. And then they just canceled. That's it. Just done.
Mm-hmm.
So yeah, literally canceled in that case, and literally she lost her job. He lost his job. I mean, it's so anyway. it's made Woj into something of a martyr at this point. Now, I think it's only enhanced Woj's reputation.
It has. Like that's it. This has enhanced it. Maybe not quite as much as him. The year when he was that this year? Well, 2019, excuse me. That draft where they're like, hey, don't tell beforehand what's going on. He's like, okay, I won't. Hey, they're strongly considering picking this guy, though.
They're laser focused on Darius Baisley. And then I'm like, what?
That was crazy.
That pick is like 5 picks away. How are you getting this?
Yeah.
That was no. So that's kind of funny because when they told Woj not to do that,
they said you cannot reveal the pick.
You cannot reveal the pick. But Mark Stein was sending out those tweets saying like,
oh no, it wasn't Mark Stein. It was Woj. Woj was sending out. Woj sent out. Oh yeah.
Woj he started. I thought
he was sending them out.
He just kept sending out like the discussions have centered upon there is
like
a strong indication that they will select. Yeah, like he's under the impression that he's going to be selected by. Like I mean, he found so many different ways to say it.
It was 2018.
Yeah,
I thought Mark Stein, got it going. Then Woj was like, "Wait a minute, he's doing and then he kind of got in."
Woj was clearly irritated by the whole thing and just decided to subvert the process, which is terrific.
Cleveland prefers Colin Sexton with the number 8 pick.
Yep.
Chicago is zeroing in on Wendell Carter with the 7th overall pick.
Mm-hmm.
Memphis is locked in on taking Jaren Jackson Jr. League sources tell ESPN.
That's right. It was great. All right, so now speaking of the bubble, let's get a little theatrical entertainment for everybody. Time now for Sports Radio Theater with CJ and Zach, and also yours truly playing a small part here. Actually, playing this is got to be the biggest part that I've ever had. Quite frankly, I'm playing the. I don't either, but I think it's because I've been so good. Zach's playing the role of the executive chef. CJ's playing the role of the chef de pot, and I am playing the role of the sous chef. This is the Ballad of Café Le Bubble. The food, as people know, the food in the bubble has been pretty harshly critiqued by a lot of players. For his part, John Morant said I'm not a silver spoon guy, so it's fine. Other players are silver spoon guys, and they don't like it at all. They're not happy.
Part
with
of the reason I came up is to eat good. Like
that's
that's a huge part of it.
Yeah. Why am I making all this money if I can't eat good? Come on. What are we talking about here? So the chef, the Ballad of Café Le Bubble.
Okay, so we got a thin parboiled encased pork and beef sausage that is slow smoked at low temperature, mixed with a tomato puree laced with oregano and garlic.
Chef, that looks like Vienna sausage and tomato sausage.
You uncultured swine. Let's go to the next dish. 2 premier cut slices from a whole wheat loaf drizzled with honey at the tops, with the finest of nut butters and jam freshly imported from Concord in the middle.
Chef, that just looks like a peanut butter and jelly sandwich made with the butts of the bread.
Silence you, unless you want to be whacked in the head with a colander.
But Chef, what are we supposed to pair with both entrees?
Our patrons can order our freshly imported potatoes from Idaho that are lightly seasoned, deep fried to a golden brown hue in our finest oils and minerals.
Sous chef, can I see you over here for a quick second?
Yeah. What is it?
I think there's something wrong with the chef. The quarantine is getting to him. Our freshly imported potatoes from Idaho that are lightly seasoned, deep fried to a golden brown hue in our finest oils and minerals is nothing more than a bag of Lay's potato chips being poured into a container.
I see the reason for your concern, but I don't think
so. Too much talking, not enough work. We got one more dish, you lazy dung beetles.
Yes, chef.
Sorry, chef.
All right, that's more like it. Last dish for the evening. The rarest of goat cheese curds imported from the Alps, served with gelatinous turkey spheres cut into eighths, on homemade gluten-free whole grain flours that have been baked at 400 degrees to a crispy and crunchy finish.
Hey, Chef Depard, let me talk to you in the hallway for a second. We'll be right back, Chef.
What do you need to see me for, sous chef?
You're right, he's lost it. The rarest of goat cheese curds imported from the Alps served with gelatinous turkey spears, cut into eighths on homemade gluten-free whole grain flours that have been baked at 400 degrees to a crispy and crunchy finish. It's nothing more than your everyday Lunchable. The players are going to be mad about this.
And scene.
Really good. One of the best.
I think so. I agree.
I think they are getting Lunchables.
Are they? It wouldn't surprise me.
I believe they call them Lunchables.
It wouldn't surprise me, man.
Lunchables.
Just to open up a container and just be Vienna sausages in there. Like,
That's
here
right.
you go. Knock it out.
With the finest Capri Sun that money can buy.
Oh, man.
How about
Food
a nice
is so
Hawaiian
bad.
punch?
I don't think it's gotten any better.
Well, on top of all of that situation and excellent work, excellent acting, Zach's acting continues to get better, I think.
Yes, very
Zach's
much so.
He's trod the boards, my friend. You're going to be out there soon. When all this COVID is over, you're going to be out there probably in front of a crowd, I would think.
We'll see. Hopefully, maybe.
Oh no, it's gonna happen for sure.
I've always wanted to be a voice actor, though.
Oh, I think you I don't know why you wouldn't be. What sort of what could you see yourself doing there?
I mean, like anime cartoons, like
Like, what type of character would you be in the anime cartoon, though? Because there are definitely different character types in those anime cartoons. So which one are you gonna be?
I mean, like Krillin is cool. Like I could be.
Man goes with Krillin.
I could be a Krillin. Like if
The
you,
worst member
you-
of the Sea Fighters. You go with
no.
that.
I'm not saying I got to be a fighter. I'm just
You
saying.
You just think you could be a good worst character on the show.
No. It's like the best friend of the main character.
Oh my gosh. You couldn't think of another best friend character to use?
Hey guys,
You had to use Krillin? You don't know, Peter. Krillin is trash.
I have no idea.
Krillin is not
garbage.
good.
Krillin is just there to die. Krillin goes out
Unfortunately.
there, catches an ass whooping, makes everybody mad. Everybody rallies around the ass whooping that Krillin caught. And that's it. Like, that's Krillin's whole role. Krillin can't even die anymore because they've got these Dragon Balls that allow them to wish people back to life. And Krillin has died so many times that the dragon's like, nah, you can't wish him back no more. If he dies next time, he's just gone for good.
I'm excited about this. I want Zach to be the worst characters on all shows. You want to be like Jar Jar Binks? Like, what do you want to be like? People
That
I
is
don't hate?
exactly what Zach wants to be.
No, not Jar Jar.
That no sounded like Jar Jar.
Not Jar Jar.
See?
No. I mean, I encourage you. I this is one of the strangest things. You want to be the worst characters out there, but hey, there you go. Fantastic. I
Krillin.
want to hear some of your voice. I need to hear some voice samples here pretty soon. If you're going to be part of this whole thing, I need to hear some sample work.
I think that is, you've heard it.
Oh, really? Okay,
Yes.
well,
Zach, do you got an
I
impression
need to hear some
lined
different-
up?
I need to
You
hear some
got
different-
different inflection for us?
Not at the moment.
Okay. Yeah, that's
Not
that
at the
voice
moment?
the
That's-
voice
that's
heard
all
is
you
what
got?
Yeah. The voice you hear is what you get with that.
No, not at the moment.
all right. Give me like a excited Zach.
What? No. What?
Do you say something other than what? No.
Oh my goodness! What?
Why does excited Zach like defusing a bomb, Zach, or whatever that is? I don't know.
Oh.
Now can you give me sad Zach? Say the same lines. Say what? No, like you just heard.
What?
You heard like you just got some terrible news.
No. What?
That's the exact same.
What? Oh my goodness. What?
Okay. All right. All right. Now you're angry. Okay. Now this is angry Zach.
Now
Same
this-
lines,
this
same
is
exact lines,
hard.
but now angry.
This is hard because I'm not angry all the time.
But no,
best
but you have to
friend
be.
gets angry.
Your best
The best
friend,
friend-
like your best friend just got you saw him. He just got shot right in front of you, and you can't believe it. So you're saying, "What? No! Oh my goodness!"
Like being angry is hard. It's hard for me.
You want to be a voice actor or not? I mean, this is part of the job.
Yeah, I understand, but I can't. I can't be
Just
angry.
get yourself in the moment. You can be angry.
It's hard.
Okay, just do it. You gotta do it. I'm getting angry now. Come on. All right, just remember. Somebody
What's he
stole the
supposed to
last
say?
oatmeal raisin cookie. Thank you. You're at Subway. That somebody took the last oatmeal raisin cookie from
And
you,
it's taunting you with
and
that.
is taunting you and saying, "Ooh, wouldn't this be nice? I guess you can't have a cookie now." Now think about how angry that would make you. Now, okay, and action.
What? Are you serious, right? What? What? Huh?
Huh? Who gets angry and says, huh? What is happening?
I told you I don't get angry. I'm not an angry person, so it's hard for me to like get into that.
Everyone gets angry sometimes.
I mean,
Everyone
yeah,
gets
we get angry.
sometimes.
We get angry sometimes, but I'm typically not angry on demand. Like that's.
When have you ever been angry and said, huh?
Huh?
Huh? I mean, I couldn't.
How many fights have started because some angry dude just said, huh?
A lot, actually. Like somebody trying to instigate something. Like, huh? Wait, what?
No.
What?
That's like what? Huh? I misheard you. What? What was that? Huh? All of Zach's fights start when he can't quite hear what somebody's saying.
Pardon me.
Huh? What was that you said? Huh?
Then wham.
Because I thought you said something before. You said something, but I didn't hear you clearly.
I didn't. What?
I need you to say it
What?
again.
Huh? What? What did you say? Seriously, what did you say? I have a hearing problem. What? Huh?
Oh.
Zach, go to the ear doctor. What? What did you say? Seriously. What was that?
Oh, my tummy hurts.
67129 if you want Zach to be part of your voice acting crew. You got a cartoon project or something coming up, and I'm Zach's agent now, so you have to talk to me first. I assume there's going to be an unbelievable amount of demand after this audition, so I'm just going to take all that action.
If you need somebody to say what, no, and huh in the exact same way, hit us up. Hit Peter up.
no matter what the situation is, if you'd like what, no, huh, we got that covered for you. Okay. For example, if you're doing English as a second language video, you're wanting to help people learn phrases like what, no, or huh, then we got you covered.
Or just put it on a mix track. That's cool with it. I'm cool with
Oh,
that.
I'd love to hear that.
The beat drops, huh?
Huh?
You got
What?
the baby and Black Boy JB on the track, huh?
Huh? Who was that? Oh my goodness! What?
No.
What did you? All right, we'll take a break. We'll come back. I don't know how we could follow that, but Tyler Springs is going to have to try. He's going to join us, talk a little bit about the tracks that he has been giving us. Also, a little bit about what the minor league baseball world has been up to since the cancellation, because of course he's the voice of the Jackson Generals. So we'll talk to him about that and about a difficult time for everybody there. All of that when we continue here in the Family Leisure Studios. Real Sports Talk, Sports 56, 96.1, 87.7.
Broadcasting from the
Do that again. Come on, one more time. Give me that Little John impression.
Can I get a yeah? Can I get a what? Can I get a okay?
Oh man, the best. What do we even do with that? I don't know. All right. Well, joining us now to talk about his.
That's all you can do.
That's all you can do. I just got to move. You just got to keep it moving. Our friend Tyler Springs, who you hear with us from time to time. And of course, he formerly of our station. Now, of course, does all sorts for the voice of the Jackson Generals and voice of Rhodes and CBU. And we've seen and heard Tyler all over the place, and you see him down at FedEx Forum as well. He joins us now. A good playlist, man. So tremendous.
Thank you, and I'm inclined to add Zach's cover of Lil Jon's "Get Low" for our next playlist.
Please do.
A crowd please.
If we could whip that up. To the window.
Why is that Albert rapping all of a sudden?
I don't know. I'm not sure. And why does Lil Jon say, "Can I get a what?" Did he ever say that? He just said what? He didn't say, "Can I get a what?"
If he's on stage, we've seen him come out on stage at like a Cat Williams concert special or something like that, and get the crowd hype and get the crowd involved that way.
Okay. Well, Tyler, you've gotten the crowd hype today with a lot of great tunage. What's the theme? What is there a theme going through? It's a very eclectic mix.
It is quite an eclectic mix, and I appreciate that you guessed that there was a theme. There is. These are all pieces of music that are prominently featured in mass media, movies and television. So you've obviously been well acquainted with the Rolling Stones and "Give Me Shelter." That's used in a ton of movies. I know it from the opening scene in The Departed, more than anything else. But all these songs have been used somewhere as a featured part of a particular show. And like you guys probably don't know that the Five Blind Boys from Alabama, "Way Down in the Hole," that's the theme song for The Wire.
Okay.
If you've ever seen The Wire. "Fly Like an Eagle" with CJ Gott was used in the Space Jam soundtrack. "Come and Get Your Love" with CJ, a fan of the Marvel Universe, somehow didn't know was by Redbone, was used prominently in Guardians of the Galaxy.
He got that. He did get that, though.
Zach got the extreme ways being used in The Bourne Supremacy and The Bourne Identity and The Bourne Ultimatum. "Fresh Blood" by Eels is the theme track for HBO's The Jinx, which is a 6-episode miniseries. The Neutron Dance is the car chase theme music in Beverly Hills Cop. I don't know how you guys didn't get to that.
Oh, it is.
Oh, yeah.
Yes, famously so. And then the last 3 songs we haven't got to yet. So there you are.
Well, there we are. There you are. There we are. Excellent. I love. Are these all like songs that you listen to? Are these all songs that are on your personal playlist?
I was just trying to think of like a crossover between TV shows I liked and theme songs I liked, and found the middle of the Venn diagram. So
what are you normally listening to when you're in the car? Other than obviously you're listening to a lot of sports talk and podcasts and that sort of thing.
I listen to a bunch of stuff. It's usually not screaming heavy metal. Sorry to those fans. Although I've recently been given a couple of like gateway type of bands to that sort of stuff. Just because quarantine's a good time to expand your horizon. But I go all over the place. I mean, I would willingly listen to pretty much any of the songs on this list. I'm a little more mainstream than Eels per se, but it's but I can go pretty much any decade between now and the 1960s, thanks to being raised right by my parents, among other things.
Oh, well, that shot was unnecessary. I'm sure my parents don't like that, Tyler.
I didn't say you weren't, CJ. I just said I felt like my parents did a good job. I didn't get to everything.
My parents didn't introduce me to the Stone. Like I don't know how I missed that.
That's a bit of a Two Americas type of thing.
Okay.
I'll give you a pass on that.
What song should I listen to start my Jones journey? Like when I get started, it's like, okay, I'm gonna pull it up on YouTube and I'm just gonna go for an hour and a half, 2 hours on nothing but Rolling Stones. What should be the start?
I mean, I love Satisfaction. That was my ringtone for a little while. Back when we had flip phones, and you had to like buy a ringtone individually with like buttons.
I missed those days.
I know, right? Do you actually though? I don't know. I'll tell you what. I miss texting with ABC because you used to be able to feel all the buttons under the desk in your high school classroom, so you could text with one hand and you could do it while the teacher was like looking at you, and it still looked like you were paying attention. Can't really do that with a touchscreen phone, but I'd say satisfaction. Go with the mainstream stuff first.
Brown sugar.
Satisfaction.
Give me shelter.
Brown sugar.
Sympathy for the Devil is absolutely
Black.
wonderful.
Sympathy for the Devil is hugely up there. You can do Start Me Up if you want, but it's such a huge catalog to pick through. You can't always get what you want. All those. It won't be hard, CJ.
Okay. All right. I'll get on that maybe this weekend.
Yeah, that will not be.
You can send me something too.
Gotcha.
To find out. So Tyler Springs, how was the? It's been a tough time, for the minor league baseball folks. You're obviously in contact with a lot of the folks in Jackson, because of the in minor league baseball has just canceled altogether. Major League Baseball had a heck of a time to get everything together, but it looks like we are going to have a Major League Baseball season within the next few weeks. But in the minor leagues and with the folks that you're talking to in Jackson, how are things?
Well, it's brutal, and I want to update my resume for you real quick because you deserve that. So I actually I got out at the right time. I at the end of the last season I said, "Hey Jackson, I've loved my 3 years here, but I'm not coming back for 2020." So I was not personally impacted by minor league baseball other than in an emotional way, where I know lots of folks over there in the Southern League and in other leagues around the country who are hurting. So I'm my main stuff is with U of M right now, and I was not going to go back and do Jackson except maybe to help out with their League All-Star game, which was supposed to be scheduled in June. I mean, they were supposed to have a League All-Star game, and they're supposed to have a Snoop Dogg concert this weekend out there in Jackson, and all this
Snoop's not coming?
coronavirus stuff. I have not heard officially, but my understanding is that Snoop is likely not to come to that. But I cannot say for sure. I've not been in contact with team officials, but I mean, especially teams that run on a tight budget. The problem is that you really can't survive a season like this, where you're expecting all this revenue from your gate. It's not like minor league baseball gets to rely on the broadcast rights money from Major League Baseball. Minor league baseball is a totally separate entity in that way, and they do have a subscription online service where you can watch games online, but it's nowhere near obviously the moneymaker that regional TV networks are for Major League Baseball. So I'm devastated because minor league baseball, as anybody who's been to a Redbirds game knows, is an incredible way for kids to get to know the game, because like you don't go to a major league park, you're not going to Busch Stadium or SunTrust Park and like seeing kids playing catch in the outfield concourse, or like on the berm in left field. It's like minor league baseball is both a great way for like parents to have their kids in a contained environment, but also to have for those kids to be like up close, feet away from the stars of tomorrow's baseball, and for it to be okay. It's the access is so much less restricted in the minor leagues, and I'm afraid that based on this and based on the fact that Major League Baseball was planning to cut down a lot of teams in their minor league ranks anyway, we're going to lose the immediate access and the impact of the game on a lot of kids around the country who are not going to get to see all these exciting young players, up close from right behind the backstop, who couldn't otherwise afford to go to a major league game. And this says nothing obviously about the player development that gets lost, the minor league guys who are under contract who are not getting paid right now. But it's a giant kettle of terrible fish, for lack of a better term.
So what does Major League Baseball do? Like it's not only does it, the loss of the minor league system and the loss of minor leagues this year and maybe in future years when you think about teams being reduced, what does that do for Major League Baseball, a league that depends on the minors for the growth and development of their labor force?
Well, ostensibly it saves them money, and that's what they were looking to do by cutting a proposed 42 teams and reorganizing the minor league ranks so that there's really only one team at each level, AAA, AA, and single A, and they can kind of be flexible with complex level teams and Dominican level teams beyond that. But it's a money grab, like most things now, CJ. It's unfortunate that they see the game that way, and the fact that I think minor league baseball is a great access point for lots of small kids to get into the sport. But as Major League Baseball continues to operate, they want more money for themselves. I understand why they want it. I just don't think that if you haven't been to a minor league game in a while, you don't appreciate the level of ease with which you can get into the park, move around the park, buy an affordable hot dog and a beer if you're somebody who wants to have dinner at the game. And I think you lose interest in the game for the folks that are trying to get in on a grassroots level. I think it's one of those things where they're losing a lot of enjoyment. Yeah, I understand that minor league baseball is not the most profitable thing ever, but I think there's merit to subsidizing a little bit of that cost in order to get more people access to the game, to have more eyes on it, and for future generations to be interested in baseball. Because as we know, baseball has lost its perch as the pastime of America, and I think that the waning interest is going to be as damaging as whatever money Major League Baseball lost this year in the labor strike. That's going to be, I think, equally damaging on a different level to a younger baseball audience, or an audience that could have been in a baseball audience.
It's not like it's that much money, compared to so many of these budgets and so many what these guys spend.
Right.
It's shameful the lack of financial support for the players. The fact that on so many different teams you've seen players jump in and offer $500,000 here, $1 million there to try to backstop these guys when the organizations wouldn't. I mean, it's pretty shameful that organizations can't take care of their guys like that, and their own players have to say, look, this is ridiculous. Like, these guys aren't making any money anyway, and you're cutting it from the nothing to even less than nothing. It's crazy.
It's nuts. And, I think of the Oakland A's, the classic example, from Moneyball, obviously, but they still play in the same stadium when Moneyball was written as now. And their owner is worth something like $2 billion. And I think I read that the total salary of all the minor leaguers in their system put together would have come somewhere between like $1 million and $2 million if they paid it out over the course of a season. And they chose not to pay them. And now there are some teams that will commit to paying their minor leaguers through August, which is the end of the minor league year, technically. But it's just crazy that people are so desperate for cash. And I understand why, but it's at the cost of a lot of people's ability to have access to the game, both as a player, as minor league coaches as well, who are out of a job, and the whole ranks of scouting and player development personnel. You can't put everybody into the summer camp bubble to work with that 60-man roster that they've instituted for this year. So I think there's going to be a lot of people who would normally be out at fields working with guys who are going to have to find other ways to do that.
Last thing, Tyler, as a baseball fan, what does a 60-game season do for you?
It's a sprint. You got to be really good right out of the gate, and I think it's interesting that the teams that were not as good last year, and I'm not talking about like bad teams like the Orioles, my beloved, they're not going to have a chance. But I do think the teams that were sort of like fair to middling last year are going to have a shot to go on a decent run and perhaps find themselves in a playoff picture when in a longer season, the overwhelming talent on the top teams like the Yankees and the Dodgers tends to win out. So I'm here for the upheaval. You guys know this. I'm here for the chaos. And I'm hopeful that a 60-game season, let's assume, knock on wood, that everybody gets through it healthy. And we know everybody won't, but we like to get the majority through it healthy and with nobody having serious concerns. I think you've got a real shot for teams to make the playoffs or at least be in the playoff race at a time when most folks maybe probably wouldn't expect that from what their talent is on their present roster, especially if they've got some minor league guys who are sort of just nearing the edge of the ceiling to the major leagues. Guys who are knocking on the door from AAA or from AA had good years last year. Those guys, I think, have a great chance to contribute to the major league clubs this year if they're able to debut. And in a short sprint season, I think a manager is more likely to play a hot hand because guys want to play and folks want to win.
He is our friend Tyler Springs at Typhoon Springs on the Twitter. Check him out. Working for the University of Memphis now, and Memphis women's basketball, and other things, and hopefully college sports. That's a whole different discussion that we'll have to have later on, Tyler, about that. But that's another hugely impacted area. But thank you in the meantime for the aux and for the great tunes.
Yeah, delighted to help out, and delighted to come back and tell CJ some more Rolling Stone songs in the future.
Appreciate it, my man.
He needs someone to be his mentor for sure on this one. So thank you for that. Tyler Springs joins us. We'll take a break, come back, and continue here. A bit more news to get to, and a little college football news that has broken as we were talking to Tyler. We'll tell you what that is when we return. Real Sports Talk, Sports 56, 96.1, 87.7.
Spend your lunch with Greg Gaston and Eli Savoy on Sport.
You know you bound to wind up dead. You don't head back to Tennessee, Jed. Sing it, Jerry. Welcome back to Sports 56 Happy Hour. I'm your good buddy, Johnny Radio at G_Coon. 71 is Gabe Coon. He's always with me. We're always hanging out. I'm going to tell you something. We're about to go to my favorite segment in the whole wide world. I'm going to take you to Hardwood. But before I do, I got to tell you something. Brian Elder. That's right, Roofing Solutions. But before we go to Brian Elder, there is something I do need to tell you a little secret about, and it's called, well, funny and Family Feud. Let's do it, Bruce Smith.
If Captain Hook was moonlighting as a handyman, he might replace his hook with what tool?
A hammer.
Try again.
A penis.
Tell me the age a kid is too old to sleep with a what the he said?
Dude, I'm sorry. That's the greatest thing I've ever heard in my entire life. If somehow you are...
Celebrity Family Feud and Bruce Smith. That's the answer he gave.
Yeah, he went out, Mike Irving went first, then he followed. And, like, if Mike did that, I just thought Mike was way coked up. You know what I'm saying? Bruce doing that, Bruce is thinking to himself, literally, man, last time I saw a handyman who didn't have a hammer. Oh, he took off his clothes. Something that Bruce.
I think he's been hanging out with Ben Roethlisberger too much.
Yeah, that's what I was saying. Something we can tell Big Ben and Bruce have in common. But you have to admit, dude, homie went straight into the next question, and then he stopped and was like, "What the bleep did he just say?" Do you know how many ladies have hit up Bruce Smith this weekend? Like his phone, if they find it. You know, there's women out there who are just like.
So you're saying
searching.
he has so many DMs, his phone's probably like physically weighs more.
Dude, yes, dude, I'm telling you right now, like what is it? The cloud.
The cloud.
The cloud broke because there's so many women that have DM'd Bruce Smith.
What? Never.
Isn't that what it's called? The cloud.
Yeah.
Anyway, yeah, Bruce Smith broke the cloud. But anyway, Brian Eldon Roofer Solutions, speaking of clouds, if they bring in hail, if they bring in wind and rain and storms, guess what they can do? They can destroy your roof. Roofs getting destroyed, that's scarier than bleep because your most expensive investment is your residential home or your commercial business. They take care of commercial and residential roofing. They are the best in the business. 901-867-0303. That's 901-867-0303. They're also right now protecting and practicing social distancing, all that good stuff. You call them at 901-867-0303. They can measure your roof from outer space. They'll come out there, give you an estimate. They'll check your roof to make sure that you don't need a repair. Like if you just need like a repair, they'll just repair it. If you need a complete new roof, then they'll get in touch with your insurance agency, et cetera, et cetera. But again, 901-867-0303. You want to call Chris Price and Brian Elder, two of the best men that I absolutely know on planet Earth. Like I love my buddy Gabe. Love him. I love me. I love my buddy Bill. I love my peeps. Brian Elder and Chris Price, I respect them as much as anybody on planet Earth. 901-867-0303. That's 901-867-0303. Brian Elder Roofing Solution. Let's do Hardwood.
This is Access Hardwood.
But I'm sorry, man. Bruce Smith has some serious explaining to do on that answer. If you're a handyman, a hammer, I understand.
What do you pull out of your What do you pull out after your hammer? I mean, a lot of handymen only have a hammer.
What about a screwdriver, tape measure?
See, I don't even know. Wait, tape measure, that's the thing that you pull out? Those are annoying. The screwdriver, I always borrow one from my neighbor. They hate me, I'm sure. But no, yeah, I can understand that. If I was a handyman and I showed up, I'd have a hammer. And
would your second answer be penis?
That's about all else I'd have. Because I do have a hammer.
Like, it's almost like someone asked him, what's the first thing on your mind? And he just said penis. Like,
Dude, he literally.
I don't get it.
Can I just honestly tell you the truth? So he's sitting up there. He's on television, okay? He's got, you got the man who messed up Miss Universe right in front of you. And he's like, what's the first thing that Captain Hook would have on to replace his hook if he's a handyman? Hammer! Got to come up with another answer, So he's freaking out. So you know what he does, don't you? He goes into his memory bank, and he thinks of the handyman that he's seen in his lifetime, okay?
God.
The only handyman that he's ever seen in his lifetime has been like this. So, here's your sink's clogged. I'm here to unclog it. You know what I mean? And that's why he came straight out with that answer, and you know it. So, yeah. Again,
I hope not, man.
Him and Ben Roethlisberger.
Look, he got hit in the head. He must have got hit in the head a few too many times in his football career.
He did play a lot of football now. By the way, Bruce Smith, Reggie White, Lawrence Taylor, Von Miller now, Khalil Mack, those dudes, when they came off the edge, man, I'm telling you, bro, they killed people. Killed people. And even when they forget their hammer. Did you have something else, or am I supposed to be doing something here?
Just go. I'm going to be laughing the rest of the segment.
Like I was going to say, I'm supposed to do something right. Now, I got to tell y'all something during Hardwood to make y'all laugh. And I just can't even believe that they waited this long. So, if 45,000 people were about to ascend onto your city, and your city's Chicago, okay? You got skyscrapers. You do all kinds of stuff in Chicago. Their mayor's become very popular. But they have the thing called, the Chicago Marathon. Now, they canceled the Boston Marathon. You know that, right?
I do.
Why did they wait till just now to say, you know what? I don't think that we're going to be able to pull this bad boy off in October. Let's move this thing back to 2021. And then they add this. Or maybe 2022. Dude.
How are you laughing? That's depressing.
No, it is depressing. But, dude, okay, here's no offense. Okay, yes, it is depressing. But here's the one thing I want to ask you. The America Chicago Marathon Running Association had listed up until today on their marathon, on their website, we are hopeful and praying that 45,000 get to come and run in one of the greatest marathons in one of the greatest cities in the world. Now, today, you can go to their website. You know what it says? No server. Like it's not even there.
404, page not found.
Yeah, page not found. That's it. Good job. Thank you. I didn't even know what it was. It was just basically I say no server because I'm like, damn, it's blank. I'm glad this dude took a screenshot of it, by the way. But can I ask you something? You know me. Like, if Russell Westbrook, if they're having an NBA bubble, if pro golfers are testing positive and they play outside, by the way, and by the way, when you play golf, you don't even touch another person's ball. Did you know that? You don't even pick up another person's ball. You just play with your own ball. You play it by yourself, too, all the time. Like, you're always playing by yourself. You think Ben Roethlisberger would be a golfer. But, like, this is a dangerous virus. Russell Westbrook, by the way, he's probably infected my kinfolk. I'm very upset. He's come out and said I tested positive for COVID-19 prior to my team's departure to Orlando. I'm currently feeling well, quarantined, and looking forward to rejoining my teammates. When I'm cleared, thank you all for the well wishes and continued support. Please take the virus seriously. Be safe. Mask up. # why not? Luckily, he just put, that's all he put on there. Because God forbid he accidentally had a picture of him and Mia Khalifa who are quarantining together.
Why do you bring up Mia Khalifa with him? Is he have a prior relationship with him?
No, that's
James Harden. Yeah.
And you don't think that why do you think Russell Westbrook left Oklahoma City? Come on now.
So he could party with James Harden and Mia Khalifa?
Of course.
Is that what you're trying to That's what you're insinuating?
Yeah.
Speaking of the NBA bubble, have you been seeing the sort of trend they have right now in shotgunning beers? JJ Redick has gone and he was in the cold tub and he sort of started the trend by shotgunning a beer. And then Myers Leonard had this ridiculous video where he sort of introduced the whole thing as a trend and then shotgunned a beer. He was quick. It was impressive.
Okay. Wait just 1 second. We're talking about shotgunning beers?
In the NBA bubble. That's what they're doing now.
That
was a thing that happened over the weekend.
Bored.
Yeah. Absolutely. What would you? I'd be bored too.
Somebody fly over and drop them a damn funnel. You know what I'm saying? Can't they make a funnel? Don't you?
You ever shotgunned a beer?
Yes, dude.
Yeah.
I hate that, dude. It feels very sloppy once you open it.
But a funnel's better.
Dude,
I don't get that
yeah,
reasoning.
I like the funnel, man. Funnel's dope as hell.
67129. What's better, shotgunning a beer or funneling a beer?
Dude, if you're gonna make me chug a beer, I'm not putting a hole in the side and
the
sucking
shotgun
that
goes
while
down
you
quicker.
Dude, no. I can just turn it upside down and go just as fast. I mean, a funnel though.
No, you cannot just turn it upside down and go just as fast because the air bubble's different.
You're right, air bubble's different. I'm just saying, I will lose on that one. But you can put 3 beers in a funnel. You know that? You can put
That's
3
true. You can
beers
put,
in a funnel.
You can put
How can you shotgun 3 beers at once?
Right in a row. You can do them in a row.
This is Nicki Minaj math, buddy.
You can do them in a row.
Again, that's Nicki Minaj math too. Now, but I would prefer the fact that
the Nicki Minaj
easier to take on 3 if you have a funnel. Okay,
at a time, at once.
Nicki would tell you. Trust me. I can promise you that. If you have no idea what we're talking about, you need to listen to last Friday's Hardwood. I think it was Friday, maybe Thursday. Now I wanted to ask you, Mike Golick. He's not going to be doing radio anymore. He played for the Eagles, right?
Yes.
Do you know that I actually had a child the other day say to me, "He's leaving radio? What's he going to do?" I'm like, he was a pro football player once, right? Mike Golick, the guy who eats donuts every day, who did the show with Greenberg and now with Trey Wingo? Yeah, dude, he went to Notre Dame, too. What? He went to Notre Dame? Yeah. The fact that some kids are so young and they only see him as a radio personality trips me the bleep out. And I know he's done it, 20 years? So I can see how you grew up with Mike Golick or whatever, but to not know my man played at Notre Dame and with the Eagles, I wonder, did you listen to the damn show?
That's embarrassing, man.
It's pretty bad.
Who did this, man?
Man,
this got to be a young kid.
Yeah.
One of them college students, huh?
Like my brother's age?
Oh, man. I mean, but how do they assume that Mike Golick got that job? They just...
Dude, are you kidding me? How do they assume I got my job? Hey, you were really good in high school and you sucked in college. Oh, that's why you're on the radio. But no, you know what I mean? Mike Golick, and yes, you're right. He was a an international super sports star. He was great. He was a great person to wake up with. I'm going to ask you, and I'm being dead serious when I ask you this, and it's not a joke. Don't laugh at me. Were you ever a Mike Golick fan? Did you ever listen to him? In any way, are you sad or anything?
I mean, it's sort of the end of an era. His son's on there now, so I guess his son will sort of
Mike Golick Jr. How did he get
but
there?
I know because of his
Man,
pops.
Yeah. He
No,
went to
but I
Notre
mean,
Dame.
I like Mike Golick. Mike Golick was really good on the air and did it for a long, long time. Mike and Mike in the morning for a while. Now he was with Wingo.
I liked him and Trey actually better than him and the Greenie. Isn't that
Yeah,
weird?
that's why that ended.
By the way, though, since we're talking all this sweet stuff, can I get to the real stuff now? I went and said, hey, Mike Golick, enjoy retirement, bro. And I just was making fun of people who actually didn't know that he played pro sports and he played at Notre Dame. Like, who was it that he played next to on the defensive line? And that's why you might not have noticed his ass. You know what I mean? Like, he wasn't the best player on the Eagles, if you know what I'm saying. But anyway, point is, have you all seen DeAndre Baker and my friend Quentin Dunbar? And did you see what's going down? Did you see what's happening?
Yeah, I did.
Dude, they can go to practice.
Well, did you see what happened with their attorney, right?
Attorneys withdraw after victim bribing
Yep,
allegations.
they were bribing
So, hold up.
victims.
Wait, honey, you just cut my story off and went to the end. First and foremost, we have to get back. Last Friday, what did they say to Quentin Dunbar? You can go and join your team. Now, today, it was DeAndre Baker who was supposed to go and join his team, okay? And then guess what happens? At 8:48 in the morning Eastern Time, 7 Central, the attorney for Quentin Dunbar have now withdrawn from the case in the wake of the victim bribing allegation. This according to new documents obtained by TMZ. Michael Greco and Michael Weinstein have decided to withdraw from Dunbar. They are now being replaced by an attorney, and their name is Rear Jordan. I know somebody is taking it there. You know what I'm saying? Police have alleged that Greco's office was the background that facilitated cash transactions that obstructed the integrity of the entire investigation. In fact, now his former attorney is under federal indictment by the FBI. So all you people who text me and were saying, hell no, and I was telling y'all, well, dude, if all 3 cars are registered to these people and like they get, they're all picked out of a lineup, but then 3 days later, they all change their story. What does that sound like to you? Because I remember you people were calling me an idiot. I said, somebody got bribed. And I got literally text. What did they say? Innocent until proven guilty. If it was somebody else, you wouldn't be saying this. I said they're the dumbest idiots that ever went to Georgia. And that's hard to be. The dumbest idiots that ever went to Georgia. But Quentin Dunbar, oh my goodness. And DeAndre Baker, y'all's NFL's careers are so bleeped it's not even funny. And by the way, I don't know if y'all have heard this. How much did the victims get? Did you hear about this?
No.
So this is what's so sad. This is now legal documents. You can see this. Each victim got between $55,000 and $80,000 cash to change their story. Can I just say, busted? Now, if you're a dude who got paid, do you have to give that money back? I've always wondered that. Like, yo, I got $80,000. No, I ain't giving it back. Like, do you have to give that back?
It's a great question.
Like, 'cause I really am wondering that. 67129.
Considering it would be horrible if you paid that money to bribe and still lost your case.
Dude, look, he paid me to lie, and I just took the money. I didn't say I was going to lie. I didn't even get to go to court. You already busted him. You know what I'm saying? But I ain't giving the money back. What about you?
No.
I ain't giving it either.
I bet legally, though, because it is a
But like, who are you going to give it
You're
back?
breaking a law by
you gonna
bribing.
Give it back to DeAndre Baker. And
You're
Quentin
breaking a
Dunbar?
law by bribing. So yeah,
No,
I mean,
you got bribed.
yeah, but like,
You could say you were scared for your life. That money was a safety net for you to go to a party in Cuba.
this is a great question. 67129 if you have the
It's a
answer.
great question, isn't it? 67129. Let me know. We'll be right back. We got one more segment before we hand this thing back over to Wolo and Stats because they are back all together. Sports time, they coming up. But I got one more segment on this beautiful day. Sports 56. Never forget MemphisFarmers.com. 96.1, 87.7 FM.
Start your day with Sports 56 Mornings with Peter Edmiston and CJ Hertz. Right here on Sports 56, 96.1 and 87.7 FM.
Hi, I'm Troy Fiveash, owner of Fiveash Roofing. Do you have any idea why I never speak the way I am right now? It's because if you're honest, sincere, and knowledgeable, you do not need fast-talking, high-energy, gimmick-promising advertising to get a customer's attention. Speaking of that, how do you think companies can offer huge rebates and giveaways when you use their services or buy their products? By overcharging you in the first place, that's how. Fiveash Roofing doesn't operate that way. It's misleading and dishonest. When I provide a customer with the best products and the best service possible and do it at a fair price, why would I need gimmicks to sell it? Best products, best warranties, and best service possible. That's all we offer. Well, that and financing. Fiveash Roofing, proud partner of the Memphis Tigers and the official roofer of the Memphis Tigers home team. Fiveash Roofing, fair, honest, and ethical. 367-0050 or memphisroofer.com. 367-0050 or memphisroofer.com.
Fiveash Roofing, it's what we do. We're here for you.
Great news, sports fans. The Butcher Shop Steakhouse is now open for dine-in service. Make a reservation and enjoy a mouth-watering steak dinner. Or, if you prefer, take it curbside. In addition to their fantastic steaks, the Butcher Shop Steakhouse has a variety of entrees, including Canadian lobster tail, crab-stuffed shrimp, pan-seared red snapper, and fresh ground steak burger with portobello mushroom sauce. Planning to cook out? The Butcher Shop Steakhouse offers a great selection of fresh Angus beef, hand-cut steaks and burgers, lamb chops, Atlantic salmon, and more. Make your reservation for dine-in or pre-order for curbside pickup. The Butcher Shop Steakhouse, dine-in, curbside, and delivery. Plus, enjoy the sizzle of top-quality Butcher Shop steaks on your own grill. Call us at 757-4244 and visit our website, thebutchershop.com, for menus and more. The Butcher Shop Steakhouse, Walnut Grove and Germantown Parkway.
Hey folks, I'm Jarrett Carter. My family recently purchased East Memphis Ace Hardware at Quince and White Station, and we're excited to offer the best selection of Big Green Egg and Traeger grills. And then don't forget about our Benjamin Moore Paint Studio and the Garden Center for flowers. Save 60% with our new Duracell key fob replacement program. We have a master locksmith service as well as glass cutting and screen repair. The East Memphis Ace Hardware, located at Quince and White Station behind Three Little Pigs.
Napa know-how.
Get all the quality parts you need at your locally owned Napa. Because right now, when you order from Napa online, you can pick up curbside at your local store in just 30 minutes. Or get your order delivered direct to your door with free one-day shipping on over 160,000 quality parts when you spend $50 or more. Quality parts delivered quickly and safely. That's Napa know-how.
Napa know-how.
At participating stores, standard ground shipping and exclusions apply.
Now, back to Johnny Radio's Happy Hour.
Let's go!
On Sports 56 and 87.7 FM. Here's your host, John Harden.
Many a hand has scaled the grand old face of the plateau. Some belong to strangers and some to folks you know. Holy ghosts and talk show hosts are planted in the sand to beautify the foothills, shake the many hands. There's nothing on the top but a bucket and a mop and an illustrated book about birds. You see a lot up there, but don't be scared. Who needs Jackson when you got words?
Welcome back to Sports 56 Happy Hour. I am Johnny Radio. My good friend is Gabe Kuhn. Follow him at G_71. Follow me at Johnny_radio. And make sure you follow Sports 56 on Twitter, Facebook, YouTube, Periscope, and, of course, Instagram as we are chilling in the Family Leisure Studios where family and fun come together. I will tell you one thing. I am going to still, even with Rondo breaking his hand, I am going to take the Lakers to win it all because, again, Dwight Howard, Anthony Davis, Jamel McGee, that front court, nastiest thing in the world. And then the fact that you got LBJ getting to play full-time in the front court, he'll dominate a shooting guard, a point guard, small forward, whatever the bleep he has to do. Rondo, is going to hurt. Avery Bradley's out as well. But don't forget, we have my kinfolk, James Harden. We don't know what the hell's going on with him. I already just told you Russell Westbrook he's got the Rona. By the way, this was a question asked to me on Twitter. Is the Rona a Southern thing? Because, around here we call it the Rona. Main Street, yo, Maine. You know what I'm saying? Like Memphis has its own kind of slang and certain things. Is Rona is it just a Southern thing? Because
here once again are Dave Woloshin and Brad Norsworthy.
Welcome back in hour number 2 on a steamy Monday in Memphis, where we are sitting here shaking our heads. I've been gone for a couple of weeks. It's so nice to come home. It always is. I was hopeful when I left 2 weeks ago we'd have a lot of positive things that we could talk about. And, if we search, it sure looks like, as we talked about, this thing in Orlando, it looks like it may work. Looks like baseball is really going to try. Hopefully it is going to work out well. The Washington Redskins name gone. We're going to have to find out what the new name is going to be. But as far as college football goes, not such good news today. We saw that today the Pac-12 joined the Big Ten. They're only going to play conference games. Greg Sankey certainly was not optimistic about playing football at all. We saw the junior colleges. They have decided they're going to wait until spring to play their football like the Ivy League is contemplating. So when it comes to college athletics, it certainly has not been a good day, a good weekend. It has not been good at all. It is about where it was when I left 2 weeks ago, maybe even really in worse shape. I think we had more hope then. David Cobb from CBSSports.com joins us now. He's written several articles on college football this week. Let's start with the Greg Sankey article that you wrote for CBS expressing concern over even playing football in 2020. Big meeting today in Birmingham. Brett's already talked a little bit about the importance of that meeting. You tell me what you think we learned today from that and what your sense is about SEC football, if there will be a season at all.
Well, from what I've heard, the league is not going, or at least is not planning to release any sort of a statement from today's meeting. But I would not be surprised if there are some details that leak once that meeting has wrapped up. I mean, this is too important of a moment in sports history, I think, for it to completely stay under wraps. I think some of these ADs have some things they want to communicate to the public that maybe they're not authorized to. So I'm kind of glued to the computer here and to my phone to see what may creep out of that meeting. But I don't think there's going to be an ultimate decision today because Sankey has repeatedly put forth the timeline of end of July for an ultimate decision from the SEC. So he's still got a couple of weeks to play with before, I think what I would expect would be an announcement of a conference-only season. And of course, we'll see how long that lasts. But the fact that he expressed concern over the weekend, I mean, well, no kidding, man. The Pac-12 and the Big Ten have already announced conference-only seasons. It wipes arguably your conference's biggest non-conference game of the season off the schedule in Alabama USC. So, man, it's about time you started expressing concern. Why weren't they more concerned back in April, back in February? I mean, we all could have seen this coming, and I guess that's where my frustration lies. It just feels like the powers in the sport waited too long to start trying to put some quantifiable action in place to make sure this season happened. And I mean, I know you can trace the lapse in leadership further than just college football, but as somebody who covers the sport, I feel like there's just been a real lack of leadership in college football, and that's kind of frustrating as a writer, as a fan, as anybody who cares about the sport.
And that's what we're discussing today. The blame game's plenty out there, but for sports, and I think for Greg Sankey going forward, one thing that bails him out completely is there's no season, just from the public safety aspect from it, from a lack of people going back for traditional school. I think there's going to be some, ones and twos, but most of it's going to be online Zoom, and that is a huge ripoff for parents paying for that. But they can spend their money how they see fit. But if there's no season, he's bailed out. If not, if he's forced into conference only and the same number of conference games as Pac-12 and Big Ten, and that's what they have desired forever, to pigeonhole the SEC into doing that, and they also want to the conference champion, the New Year's Six Bowl, or 5 of those to be the conference champion, and the sixth one be to the best, I would assume, the best champion of the group of 5. I don't know how Larry Scott is not keeping a straight face, and the new commissioner of the Big Ten, that not 10 people even know who he is. He's newly minted. They absolutely bamboozle Greg Sankey. Mike Slive and Roy Kramer would have never sat back and let that happen to them.
Well, and what's surprising is hearing that the Big Ten's move to conference only caught everybody else by surprise. I mean, because there was sort of this thing going on over the last several months where, you heard about the conference commissioners being on conference calls with each other every day. They were supposedly talking over the phone, hashing out scenarios, trying to figure out what this was going to look like. And so they gave off the image that it was a collective effort and that, this was a good faith sort of working relationship between them. And then all of it just falls apart when the Big Ten springs a surprise on everybody else. And to be honest, the SEC really not all that impacted by the Big Ten's decision directly. Obviously, it's a huge decision for the sport, but there were no SEC Big Ten games on the schedule for this season. So the SEC could have gone along like normal, but then the Pac-12 goes and does it, and now it gets Alabama and USC off the schedule, as well as Texas A&M
Larry
and Colorado.
Scott. The biggest joke in the commissioner world, and then into the weekend there were a lot of people I was talking to, but it was rebuffed by people that matter, that there was some hope of an ACC partnership. There's not one. There wasn't one, and I said that Friday closing because I love him to death, but I know David Cutcliffe well enough that when he issued that statement Friday afternoon that he was amenable, he was acceptable. In fact, he favored the ACC going conference only. David, that said to me, because David Cutcliffe, if there's anybody on earth that paints inside the lines that doesn't get up near the edge of edginess, David Cutcliffe will not do it, and he would not have been making those comments unless he had already gotten the signal from the ACC bosses. He would have never gone out and been a lone wolf like that. So there was no ACC partnership. There's no partnership. There's nobody out there for the SEC to really gather up with. Maybe the Big 12, but I don't even know about that. Very reluctant about that. So there's no one to partner with, and it has left Greg Sankey on an island really playing defense. And again, Slive and Kramer were the ultimate offensive tacticians. Bottom line for me when I see all this is college football is, and it's been this way for a long time. The conferences, or even the schools for that matter, but for the conferences, they are all out for themselves. There is no real national leadership whatsoever. The commissioners, each of them runs their own fiefdom, and they will do as they wish, and they're not going to have each other's backs.
Yeah,
and one usually leads in that. And David, if you'll look at it, that the old Rose Bowl alliance struck again. The Rose Bowl alliance, Big Ten, Pac-12, that
Forever, they were the ones standing in the schoolhouse door preventing a college football playoff, and now with one, they get their way on ramrodding conference champions only. Dave, you're right. The reason why there was always everybody for themselves, and who got out there and led the most for themselves was Mike Slive and Roy Kramer, not Greg Sankey. I don't know what he's trying to do. He might win an ESPY. He might win a Profiles in Courage award at the Kennedy School, and he may have his job in jeopardy come next spring at Destin.
Yeah, and he'll really be backed into a corner if the ACC does what is expected and announces they're going conference only, because then the SEC loses, I think it's 6 games. Florida, Florida State, Georgia, Virginia, Auburn, North Carolina, Kentucky, Louisville, Mississippi State, North Carolina State, and South Carolina, Clemson. So, I mean,
and Georgia, Georgia Tech.
Georgia Tech as well. That's 7. So, at that point, it's a done deal. The decision's been made for him. At that point, there is no decision. At that point, the decision is season or no season. And I kind of think that's the direction this is going, unless the masterminds that are getting together today decide to kind of get out in front of something, which, given what we've seen from the league leadership so far, I'd be surprised if that's the case. So it's not looking good. It's really not for college football. And what's so frustrating is I feel like that there should have been leadership months ago, and I'll keep saying that. And what I'll say next is if indeed college football doesn't happen this fall, what they need to be talking about tomorrow, or the day that becomes more readily apparent, is how to have a 2021 season in the fall that is normal. Because, I mean, if you read Pete Thamel today, who cast a doomsday scenario over what we're headed towards in college football this fall, there was somebody, an AD, quoted in his story about casting doubt over the 2021 season. And I mean, I don't see how you can't learn from what has happened over the last few months if you're a power conference athletic director or commissioner, and not immediately start planning for, what next season is going to look like. Because it's already been proven that if you just sit back and hope that this all goes away and that everything ends up being fine, it's not going to work out in your favor. And so, I mean, that's got to be their next thing to tackle after they figure this out, is how to make the 2021 season normal and maximize the revenue and try to get college athletics back on the rails. Because one season is catastrophic, but missing 2 seasons would be absolutely fatal.
Like that all comes down to science. I mean, we could say whatever we want. We can plan for whatever we want. Look. And I'm certainly not faulting anybody in any of this, but we were on the verge. We'd gone from, in this city, we had gone from phase 1 to phase 2. We were on the verge of getting to phase 3, and they stopped phase 3 at the deadline from going on because people weren't wearing masks anymore. They weren't social distancing anymore, and we got more cases. And we saw hospital beds fill up. And so we said, whoa, we're not going to go to phase 3. And now we're still in phase 2, and we're backing off of some of that, as you saw with the closing of certain restaurants and limiting the hours and making masks a mandatory thing when you're out in the public. So we're depending. You could have had any kind of plan for college football 3 weeks or 2 months ago, and that doesn't necessarily mean it would have held up. I'm not saying, David, that they did a great job of planning, because you got to have plans in place. And did the Pac-10 and the Big Ten move too quickly? Well,
and the Ivy League got ahead of them.
They were the first ones, honestly.
The Ivy League. Do you think Greg Sankey played offense or defense, Dave?
He played defense in this one. But my point to you is this. I'm not sure any plans would have made any difference. You got to have plans.
And I said you can't blame him for the virus. But, David, you mentioned missing college football this year. If we miss college football this year, when we reassemble for 2021 and we have it and everything is somewhat back to normal economically, it will look like late 70s, early 1980s college football. It will be impacted. If we miss 2 seasons, it imperils the very existence of universities. in the SEC.
There's no doubt. I mean, that's just just mind-boggling to even consider. I don't even want to think about that. But I guess again, to me that they couldn't have made plans that and you're right, like they could have made plans in April or May for this football season that ultimately would have been disrupted or changed or altered by the course of this virus. But at least they would have had something on the drawing board to work off of. There's nothing on the drawing board now. Their idea was to go back like normal and just pretend everything was normal. I mean, that is not in any way good leadership. And so, I mean, to me, it gets down to what you said earlier, Dave, in highlighting the lack of national leadership in the sport. And I just think that, and I'm not the first one to say this, Nick Saban's been banging this drum for years, but there needs to be a commissioner or something in college football, especially over the Power Five, to coordinate all these issues of mutual significance. I mean, maybe the college football playoff can sort of take over that role as an organization or something. But there needs to be more leadership in the sport because the NCAA is sure not providing it. I mean, in any way.
Well, they can't. It was taken away from them, so you can't blame necessarily them for that. The old BCS, they made it very clear they were not going to let the NCAA, the colleges, were not going to let the NCAA run football, and they haven't.
And do you really want them to?
No, you don't.
No.
You absolutely do not. But to your point, when you don't have uniform things for all these, even the Power Five, when you've got some conferences that play 9 games and some that play 8, and only the 8-game conference has won a national title. We haven't had a school with a 9-conference game season win yet. To me, that's not an equal playing field quite yet there either. So there's so many different facets that there is a need for a call to national uniformity. I'll go back again to what we may see here this year. I don't, and to Pete Thamel, who I respect, I don't know how you could draw the conclusion at this point that a year and a half from now, or a year and I guess a couple of months, that we're still not going to be ready to go. The only people that could tell us that would be the Dr. Fauci's of the world.
Right. Yeah. You're right. So, that's the other problem is the CDC has kind of waffled on some of their guidance. I mean, at the beginning, there was uncertain sort of conflicting messages from the national health authorities about the importance of masks and stuff like that. And so some of that, I think, absolves maybe the commissioners of blame a little bit, and that there was no clear guidance nationally and on the state government level as well. But I mean, we got to figure out what the goal is here. We got to figure out what the objective or what the mission is here. Like, what are we aiming for? Like, what percentage
Perfection.
of positive tests in a state? Constitutes
zero.
A state return to play. I mean, because if it's zero, I mean, if it's zero, what I tweeted in February when all this started is going to come to fruition. That there won't be sports until everybody who was alive on the earth in 2020 has died. So we got to figure out what the goalposts are. What are we shooting for? Is it still flattening the curve? Like, what is it? Like, I'm not just talking about sports. I'm talking about, like, as a city, as a state, as a country. Like, what is our goal? Like, what does success even look like anymore? Or are we all just, like, holding our breath and hoping that grandma makes it until there's a vaccine? Like,
it'll be a new goal next week. David, they didn't move the goalposts. They moved the stadium to another planet.
I don't get it. It's frustrating. But I've taken a lighthearted approach to it today. I was kind of just like wallowing in misery for the first half of the day. But an hour or so ago, I posed a hypothetical question on Twitter. And I'm curious to know if you guys would entertain this.
I've already voted, David.
Oh, did you? Okay, good. I want to know what you voted. Let me read it. If Greg Sankey said that 50% of SEC fans must wear a tie-dye Barney suit for at least an hour a day over the next 6 months in order for there to be a football season, would you do it?
Yes. and ring a cowbell.
Wow, I hope we've got that on the podcast or on the archive. Brett Norris already.
Yeah, he'll ring a cowbell. I'm curious about your story on the JUCO season likely making the move to spring. Do you think
just got made official?
Do you think that that's a feasible plan for the major colleges?
Maybe. It doesn't seem like that's anything that they're interested in, though, because as that's been kind of, as we've sort of circled back to that over the last week, I've not seen anyone come out with any enthusiasm about that as a possibility. So I don't know. I don't know. I mean, it's already going to disrupt so much just with the JUCOs going that direction in terms of recruiting and all that. I don't know how it would work for the major colleges. I mean, it's better. It would be better than nothing. I'm just not detecting a lot of optimism about that, about the practicality of that from the athletic directors and coaches who are speaking on it.
And are you ready to go to practice in Big Ten country on the 1st of February to get ready for the season starting in March?
Yeah. I mean, you raised some good points when we discussed that a week or two ago, Stats, and that you're going to lose a lot of the star power with guys that close to the draft choosing just to sit the season out. You're also going head-to-head against a lot of other sports, and the likelihood at that point that are probably going to require the TV networks to redraw the contracts, but you still have a lot of the fixed costs. So the revenues would decrease, while a lot of the fixed costs of playing football would still be there, and maybe even more so in that regard if these programs are having to mass order, COVID-19 tests for their programs and stuff. So I don't know. Again, better than nothing, but I'm not sensing a lot of optimism from what's out there about the legitimacy of that possibility.
And did I miss this? But in the Pac-12, in the Big Ten decisions, have they talked about fans in the stands when they play these conference-only games?
I mean, I feel like that. I mean, I'm operating under the assumption that there's not a prayer of there being anything close to, certainly not anything close to full capacity.
I'm saying any. I mean, look, NBA's coming back, no fans. NHL's coming back, no fans. Golf is we now know no fans the rest of the year.
Right.
So this season's in the books that way. Could we do this at least for those five? Because the 5 power conferences, it would be worth their while because of the TV money. Would they play without fans?
I almost think that you might as well just do it without fans. You just reduce the risk, and then think about all the measures that they're going to have to put in place and pay for just to screen those fans who do come in, and all the extra staff it'll take to ensure that guidelines are being adhered to, and all this. I mean, to me, it's almost like the expense of trying to do limited fans would outweigh the pro of a little bit of extra revenue. I mean, maybe you can get the high dollar suite buyers in some way, but beyond that, I don't think it's practical.
And for a school in a conference like the American, like Memphis, you if you don't have a percentage of people in there, I don't even know if it's worth playing, because I was told this number that is pretty high. Testing that you would have to have on a regular basis for your entire football team on the annual ledger would be about $500,000 to test. You just lost $750,000 from that Purdue game. Your television money is not the kind of money that you can make up those kinds of expenses. And if you're not allowed people in, I just don't know where you get all this extra expense, particularly since they've just decided they were going to cut the budget 14%. I mean, you're talking about without people, it becomes a real money drain.
Yeah, well, I mean, the TV revenue, even for the American, I think would make it worth it. But still, I mean, the Iowa State AD had a really good letter to their fan base today, in which he laid out a lot of the potential financial ramifications of this. And so, you're looking at a reckoning for college sports right now, and that's the only reason why there's so much adamance about trying to figure out a way to make this happen, because we've seen it all over the country with programs cutting their sports, the number of sports they sponsor, and that's going to be, I would venture to say, 95% of Division I programs across the country will have to, reduce the number of sports they sponsor by at least a couple, and in some cases it'll be football and basketball if they're even allowed to do that. But I mean, you're going to have to rewrite some NCAA rules right now that govern, that dictate how many sports you have to sponsor in order to be eligible for championships, and that sort of thing. And so, from the perspective of the lost athletic scholarships, I mean, that's one thing that I think we're almost overlooking in this. So how many opportunities are provided to athletes in sports that we don't talk about on a daily basis that'll go by the wayside as a result of this? Folks who might not otherwise have an opportunity to afford college, hundreds and hundreds and hundreds, and probably thousands and thousands and thousands of those athletic scholarships around the country are now at risk as a part of all this because of the programs that are going to be cut. And that I mean, it'll take years to study the impact of that.
Oh, yeah.
But I mean, that's just going to be the new reality, that we're dealing with. Even if there is a season this year, because even if there is a season this year, it's going to look different. The revenues are going to lag compared to what they've been budgeted for, and there's going to be repercussions for that.
I think we're already seeing that. MAC has canceled championships right and left now. MAC and the Sun Belt are the most vulnerable of all these conferences. David Cobb, as always, we truly appreciate you being with us. A lot of pertinent stories you've written about today, and we look forward to seeing you continue to work, and we'll do this again next week.
All right, guys.
Thank you. That is David Cobb from CBS Sports. This portion of the show, in fact, this hour of the show, is presented by Homer Skelton Hyundai in Olive Branch and Genesis of Olive Branch. And right now, both the Hyundais and the Genesis luxury cars, 0% financing for 84 months. And on top of that deal, how about 120 days on some select models where you don't have to make your first payment? Pandemic, we hope, starting to lessen. We hope that you're going back to work, and that with that comes your opportunity. We buffer you for 4 months, then you make your first payment. All you got to do is get on Lamar. That's Highway 78 when you get to State Line Road. When you get to the very first exit, Craft Road, turn left and go see my guys. They will help you. They've all been around forever. They're a true family unit. Chris True, he is the general manager. Every one of these guys have been around for years. They know the product, and they'll end up knowing you incredibly well. And this product, by the way, so good, such wonderful technology, so durable. You get a 10-year, 100,000-mile limited powertrain warranty on every new car. Please go find out for yourself. Head on down to Homer Skelton Hyundai and Genesis of Olive Branch. We take a break. We're back in a minute, halfway through this Monday on Sports Time on Sports 56.
Greg Gaston and Eli Savoy get you through the midday with Sports 56.
Well, y'all, this is going to get ugly. This ain't going to last long.
Mm-hmm.
Do you believe her?
Absolutely. Absolutely. I don't know who did it. I got my guesses. I had 2 guesses immediately. And then after having Twitter explain to me some things, I've got 3 guesses.
Well,
I'm just saying.
It was really funny. The only player that apparently follows her is Montrezl Harrell,
who had a groupie issue last year.
He did, and then he tweeted out and woke up and said, "Yeah, I woke up and Trez is in trouble," and he said, "I was like laughing." So he's sort of like acknowledging that he's aware of the Twitterverse detective work and the allegations that he might be the one that invited. The bigger question is, I have no doubt that women are already being invited in the bubble.
Correct.
Multiple times by multiple people.
Mm-hmm.
The issue is they shouldn't be able to get in. Like there shouldn't be a mechanism by which they could even get, even if you invite them, it should be a pointless invitation. Like, man, I'd love for you to come in the bubble, but we can't because our security is so stringent that you can't get in here.
Nah, that
if
back door,
they can get in,
that back door be open.
The back door, well, the Adam Silver back door.
Absolutely.
I mean, and just as a reminder, just FYI, as of yesterday, Florida, the state in which the NBA, MLS, WNBA bubbles happen to be going on, Florida had 8% of the entire world's coronavirus cases. Just Florida. 8% of the entire world's cases were Florida. So, again, if you want another reason why you shouldn't allow you shouldn't allow some random Floridian to get into the in the bubble, this might be a good explanation as to why.
Hey, they're down there.
They are down there.
This is not.
They are down
I'm
there.
afraid this is not going to end the way we think it is going to end, the way we would all like for it to end. You've got ping pong tables, you've got arcade setups, and some of these dudes don't want to play ping pong, don't want to play arcade games. Some of these dudes, entertainment,
That's not the way they spend their time.
They spend them because they're grown ass men. They spend them doing grown ass things, man, and that's cool. I got you, but they're not going to be down to just sit there for a month, 2 months, month and a half, 3 months. Like they're not going to be down to just sit there and kick it, cool it. They're going to try and get some of the grown up things they like to do done. And if that means inviting random groupies on Twitter in, then so be it. If that means grabbing an Instagram model, knock yourself out. I hope your security's tight enough. It doesn't seem like it is. I bet you money it's not. If there's one back door, there's enough back doors to get some people through. All you got to do is holler at the right person. Okay. Then we sneak contraband in prison. Like, we can do that. And this is not a prison. This is not a jail situation. They're going to sneak some stuff in. They're going to sneak some people in. And it's going to jeopardize the whole thing. Sorry. I hope that's not news to anybody.
Well, their players certainly don't trust their teammates and other players.
Because they know them.
Because they know.
They know them.
They know how this thing's going to go. You just have to hope. You just have to hope that the protocol is gonna find a way to get this.
And Mo Bamba just putting Donovan Mitchell on blast. Just like, Donovan wildin'. Like, wait, what? Why Donovan got to be brought up in this?
Yes. Everyone's going to catch. I mean, everyone's all sitting there together. There's going to be people catching some drive-bys. There's no doubt about that. When we come back, we'll talk about there was some actual news, some actual situation that happened in the bubble, not just goofiness. Although we will talk about the goofiness as well.
Yes.
Believe me, there's plenty of that. We'll talk about that. We'll talk about some of the issues in the MLS bubble as well. We'll talk about a big day potentially for the SEC. So lots to get to. We got Sports Radio Theater coming up. We have Tyler Springs, who's going to join us at 9:30. It's his playlist. Our pal Tyler Springs on the aux today. So we'll hear from him coming up later on in the show. Lots to get to. A busy Monday here from the Family Leisure Studios. I'm Peter. He's CJ, Real Sports Talk, Sports 56, 96.1, 87.7.
It's R&R on.
Announce that the name that they have used for the majority of their existence is no longer going to be used. They will be retiring that name and will be changing it. They will not. They're not expected to announce the new name today, but they are expected to announce that they will not be that name any longer. And it is well, again, as a fan, it's been one of those very difficult things to kind of deal with because I don't like to be a hypocrite. And so I'm certainly not in support of names that are a slur, an ethnic slur, and anything that would defame the group. And it's hard to square that with the fact that this is the team name. Like, this is the name of when you started watching the team as a kid, didn't think anything about what the name was or what it meant or any of that stuff. You just like the team, and if you're me, you just like to watch them play, and Joe Theismann, and then Doug Williams, and the Super Bowls, and Art Monk and Gary Clark and Ricky Sanders and Darryl Green, and Timmy Smith back. All these guys, like, I didn't think about the name. I wouldn't think about what that name meant or what it, whether it was a slur and that stuff. As you get older, and as you start to reckon with those things, well, now you've already set. You're a fan. You've already set that in. So you can go one of two directions. You can dig in and say, well, no, you can't change it because it's the history and it's the the heritage of the team and blah, 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 or whatever. And I grew up with it and you can't change. Or you can say, look, I know it's wrong. It doesn't need to be there. But that also is very strange to admit that you've been following a team like that. So it's been a weird, kind of wrestling around in your brain for years and years and years. Just kind of like, you follow a team, and in the team you have to, like, check yourself saying the name and, like, are you saying the name? Yeah, you kind of say the name because that's what you do. But then, if you're saying the name, you're sort of perpetuating a slur. That's not great. And it's just really tricky, man. And so I'm just thrilled that that's going to be done. Like, I don't have to worry about that. That's just put that to the side. Sounds like, Red Wolves might be the direction they're going to go.
Okay.
Which I associate with Arkansas State, but we can change that. I'm okay. I'm okay with that. That's fine. I think they would like to keep an R name. I think they'd like to keep because the HTTR, Hail to the Red Wolves would be fine in the famous song. You could just change that name, no problem. You have to kind of change some of the lyrics too, but you could figure that out. So Red Wolves be okay. I'm not going to support the Red Tails idea because you don't like it, so I'm not going to. I'm kind of like, that's okay. I respect your opinion on that issue and your reasoning for not going along with that. So I'll agree with you there. The Red Foxes. I think that's another to honor
Red Fox.
I think that would be great. If you if you want to have a funny sort of logo, and we could all play some of his clips during the game, that'd be great. So that I'm
can
okay
we
with
play
that.
any of his clips?
Sure. Why not?
Okay. Oh,
it's the big one. Whenever whenever you throw like a long touchdown pass, it's the big one. You're
talking about from the show. I'm thinking of the comedy.
No. We could not.
Yeah,
No, I'm strictly going like Sanford and Son stuff, like stuff that you do on network TV. Not
okay.
No, you cannot do any of the comedy album. No,
at all.
No.
At all.
Very little. Very, very little. You have it highly edited. It would make no sense.
The what?
And then I said.
Nope. Can't
but it's funny.
It is funny.
It is funny. Gotta say that. So anyway, I really never thought we'd get to this day, CJ. I mean, I know it's been kind of, in the wind for the last. It's been the wind, for decades, but it never. Daniel Snyder at one point, was quoted as he's a terrible person. Let's just get that out of the way. Terrible human being, Daniel Snyder, who also happens to own Washington's team. At one point said, was quoted as saying, "You can print this in all caps. I will never change the name of the team." We talked about his Original Americans Foundation, which gave precisely $0 to Native causes last year. That would be this money, zero. The amount, the same amount that he gave to Swedish causes, the same amount that he gave to any other cause, he gave to that. Zero. Zip. So terrible person. And so it is especially notable that he's having to backtrack on this because he's been extremely stubborn on this because it seems like a personal thing for him. And he just sort of, like I said, he's just a very odious individual. So to see this is particularly nice and it makes me very happy. And just like a lot of people trying to sell, hopefully he'll be forced to sell. That would be great too. But this is maybe the second best thing. So I'm excited, CJ.
2016, Kaepernick and others are taking that knee. And if you had to pull me to the side and said, hey, in 2020, you won't be able to fly the Confederate flag in NASCAR. People will be spray painting Black Lives Matter proudly on their respective